Hey everyone, welcome to EverQuest, oddly enough. This is a blast from the past. You see standing before you the man himself, Gnarlo the Gnomish Enchanter. This is the original Gnarlo going back to his creation in, I believe, August of 1999. This guy goes back all the way to the last millennium. It's not quite the same appearance. Back then, the characters were a little more blocky. This was the updated graphics, if you can believe that. Came out about 3 or 4 years after the game was created. The original Gnarlo was a little bit more, a little bigger nose, a little bigger ears, a little bit more bald, and wore a white robe, which I probably still have in my bag there somewhere. But as you see, he was something else back then. Level 57 Enchanter, and this was back whenever the level cap went to 65. I think it was either 60 or 65 was the highest the level cap went then. So I was getting very close to it. Pretty powerful character. Had a bunch of really elite items. I got a Tome of Knowledge. Got my golden Afridi boots peeking out from underneath my robe there. I think that's a mug of Oguk in my hand. Of course, all this is vendor trash now. It's absolutely useless. And I think the level cap goes up to 95 now. So yeah, this is pretty much a noob character these days. But back in the time, he was something else. See a few other characters over here, including at the very top. That was my original character, Darinus. You see, he's a half-elf paladin, and he's carrying his holy sword, Soulfire, and wearing a nearly complete suit of Ro armor, the armor of Ro. Back then, like I said, once again, pretty nice stuff. Wasn't top-of-the-line raid armor, but nice stuff, and a nice sword. It wasn't the epic, but every paladin I knew wanted their flaming sword and held on to it for dear life. It's like even when you got the better ones, you always kept your Soulfire because that was your sword of truth and justice. So there you go. That's where my YouTube name comes from, and there's my main character that I have on the YouTube. So we are going to be jumping into the game here. What brought this up was I got a message from a friend of mine that used to be the guild leader. We were in we had a guild back in the EverQuest days. Of course, the guild is gone now because none of us have played in about 5 or 6 years. But they had started up again since it was being free to play on just kind of a casual play-as-you-go basis. You know, play around with it until we get tired. And so we are all jumping back into the world of EverQuest, and I, for one, can't wait. So it says I'm bound in the Nexus, so I am going to enter the world, and we will see exactly where I am. Alright, and we are in the game, and we have a jumble on our screen here. It is a buttload of windows. Let me see if I can move some of these around and get them out of the way. Don't remember having so many windows back then. Alright, there we go. New things ought to be able to slide around a little bit here. There's the compass. That was a big controversial thing when it came in. You know, before then, if you wanted to find your way around, you had to, you know, be really familiar with the zones or download maps. I had an entire 3-ring binder of maps that I had downloaded from, I've never seen this before, Extended Targ. I have no idea what that is. Let's shrink it up and get it out of the way. Back then I had an entire 3-ring binder of maps that I downloaded from a website called EQ Atlas. I remember when we played this was pre-World of Warcraft. So you're talking about the hot game back then. I mean, there were hundreds of websites devoted to it. Websites that had nothing more than maps. There were dozens of websites devoted to each of the character classes. It was really something else. It was kind of like WoW in its heyday, you know. Okay, there's my stats. As you see there, the red is my health, the blue I think is my mana, and the yellow is my stamina. I think that's it. I don't know what voice bar is, so I don't know what that is. I don't know what extended targ is, but we will see. Okay, let me see. Okay, mouse still moves us around. Said we're here in the Nexus. At one time, this was kind of the primary way of getting around to shortcuts. Let me see if map still works. Yes, it does. There we go. Do you see? We're the little green arrow here on the map. Each one of these, you got Fadewar, Otis, Kunark, and is that Shadowhaven? And each one of these is a port that will portal you over to that particular continent. And that's kind of how you got around back in the days before the Plains of Knowledge expansion. Okay, let me see. No. Oop, there we go. Okay, I think this is the one that I'm looking for here. Let's see. Close enough. Oh, look at those wonderful character animations. I said, you gotta remember this game is now 13 years old. Came out in, I'm wanting to say March of 1999. And I started playing in late April or early June of that year with Darrenus. Let me take a look at Gnarlo here and see exactly when. Say, is it play command? Yep, my birthday was, okay, September 1999 for Gnarlo. And he has total time played is 69 days, 19 hours, 29 minutes. And the total time in count entitled is 9 years, 353 days. Wow. I don't know what that means. No clue what the entitlement does. But the total time playing, that's if you add up every minute and every second that this character has been logged into the game being played, it would add up to about 69 and a half days spread over the 6 years or so that I played him. So that is quite a long time. Actually, let me see here. If I go to first, there we go. That's what I was looking for. It slowly comes back to you. Now, if I was in a guild, my old guild, it should say the guild name up underneath there. But of course, the guild is long gone. In fact, we changed from our original guild to when it got too small to handle, we went to the Twisted Fates. So apparently the Twisted Fates are no more either. Now let me see where I'm gonna go. Actually I wonder where I'm bound at. We'll have to see. Alright, took a few minutes there, was looking around, see where I needed to go. I'm actually going to go to the Plane of Knowledge. Right over here. That would be the easiest way to get anywhere. So we need to run straight across underneath the portal. And up this hallway over here. Now the Plane of Knowledge was a later expansion that came in. This right here, this expansion is from the this place here is from the Shadows of Luckland expansion. And we are actually excuse me, Luckland is the moon. The EverQuest, just like World of Warcraft takes place in Azeroth, EverQuest takes place in the world of Norath, and Norath is circled by a moon called Luckland, and this right here is actually inside the moon of Luckland. This is an outpost. Loading, please wait. Oh, it's been a long, long time since I saw those words. Alright, here we are in the Plane of Knowledge. This came in the Planes of Power expansion. The Planes of Knowledge here. Pull up the map for it. Whoa! As you see, we're right here. Surrounding it, you got the Great Divide portal, the Texas portal, the Sharvar, Praxis, Kinos. All these portals scattered about all take you to different places on the world of Norath here. That's the one we just came from, the Nexus, and this was really a useful and kind of controversial thing at the time. It put a lot of druids and wizards out of work, because back in the day, if you wanted to get somewhere and you wanted to travel across the continent, for let's say from one side to the other, from Freeport to Kinos, those were the cities. One was on the east side, Freeport was over here, and Kinos was over here on the west coast. And if you wanted to travel across, you either had to find a druid or a wizard who could cast a portal spell and take you across from one side to the other, or you ran it. And it was seriously about a 30-minute run to go from one side of the continent to the other. Very, 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 very long run. And this right here, when it came in, it gave you these portals that take you outside of all the major cities and locations. All have a portal outside of them now. So it is very easy to get around. It's kind of a quick travel system. And it's nice in that if, you know, at that point in time, you know, people were getting a little more casual about their playing and stuff. I mean, obviously you saw World of Warcraft came out slightly later, and people flocked to it because it was EverQuest without some of the there's the Great Library. You can buy a bunch of different spells and stuff in there. It was EverQuest without some of the annoying grindy bits, although original World of Warcraft had a grind to it as well. Still, there's a horse. I never was able to save up enough for a horse either. That was another thing I was working on whenever I quit playing. In fact, that is an ogre on a horse. So I'll show you something about the characters. I think that's a human standing there next to him. And you see how giant the ogre is. Now, everything in this game is scaled. In fact, let me scale out. You see my gnome here. I'm standing next to a high elf. And that is, I think, either an elf or a human that just came running up. So that right there will show you just how short I am. Yeah, that ogre there would tower over me, as you see. But let's see. I'm gonna have to pull up the map. Where I'm headed is, they said they were fighting down in a dungeon called Lower Gook. And while I was out, I happened to take a look and see, what the devil is that with the light bulbs coming out of his eyes there? A frightening liaison. Wow. It's a scarecrow. I'm not even sure what that is. A legendary liaison, a frightening liaison. I'm not even sure what those are. Those weren't in the game whenever I quit playing, so. Anyway, I need to find out where the portal to Freeport is. It's right there. Where am I? I'm right there, so I need to run down and to the left. Because I think Freeport is the closest city to where I'm going. Guck is a dungeon down in what's called the Inethul Swamp. It's kind of a mid-high level dungeon. Well, not nowadays, of course, with a level cap of 95, but back then I think you could fight in Guck into your early 50s. They had monsters in there that would still give you experience into the late 40s and early 50s. So let's click on Freeport and see if it will take us to the Freeport zone. Loading, please wait. Alright, we've appeared at the book, and wow, this is very, very different. They have done a looks like this is one of the zones that got a graphics overhaul. This is actually pretty freaking sweet compared to what Freeport used to look like. I'll have to find a picture of it, of how it looked back whenever I played. And the rats have been updated too. Boy, there's been a lot of graphics updates here. Because yeah, Freeport didn't look anything like this. I'll find a picture of it and insert it as an overlay here and show you what Freeport used to look like. Wow. Yeah, this is totally different. I recognize that guy. I recognize News. And is Boomba? Yeah, Boomba's still here. He's the ogre that sold general supplies, so they're still here. But, wow, I don't know what that is. Yeah, there's been a lot of changes in the old town. Can see I've got a lot of stuff. Heck, if they've done this to all the zones, I'm going to have a lot of relearning to do. Let's head out to the Common Lands. That's where I need to go. I need to come out to the Common Lands here. And I'm looking for the Tunnel of Roe. And we're zoning again. Alright, we've hit the Commons. Back that way would be the zone back into Freeport. Looks like the Common Lands. I knew the Common Lands had gotten a graphics overhaul. But like I said, I've never seen it. This is quite impressive. I'll throw up, see if I can find a picture of what they used to look like and throw it up too. Do have a little pop in there. Let me take a look. I'm going to pop out right quick and adjust my graphic settings and see what I can set it up to. Alright, I seem to have everything set up just about as far as it'll go. Let's travel on out this way, see what this used to be. You came out here and there was a couple of small little huts, and then there was a little like village area, an inn. I wonder if I'm KOS to the guards. KOS is kill on sight. Let's see how they consider me. They look at us apprehensively, so I think we are okay. We're in a Light Shadow Pardor the Blessed. Well, he was an innkeeper, right? Interesting. Alright, here's the little bunch. Yeah, I remember this. You hit the road. That's the road that leads over to Nectalos, Neriak. It leads over to where the Dark Elves come from, their territory. And this right here should be... Yeah, okay, these are the inns. There it is, Innkeep Herald. Wow, I actually remember some of these names. Can't remember them off the top of my head, but I do remember them. Parthar, Innkeep Herald. These inns used to have little doors on them. You had to actually open the doors and go inside. And Needlefinger, I think she sells like crafting supplies, like tailoring supplies. There we go. See, the innkeeps, they sell iron rations and beers and water and that sort of thing. Oh yeah, that's another thing in this game. You actually have to carry food and water with you because you use it. Not just for use it not just to build up stats and stuff, but you actually have to eat and drink or else you get hungry and thirsty. And if you get hungry and thirsty, you can no longer rejuvenate your mana or heal. I can't remember whether or not you actually take damage if you get too hungry or too thirsty. Now along this ridge here there should be a tunnel along here somewhere. There we go. Oh my holy. That's a good deal larger than it used to be. It was always big, but oh my god. That is the tunnel. It goes from the is this West Commons? Common Lands. I guess it's just the Commons now. That goes from here over to the Desert of Roe through this stretch of mountains here. Back in the day, before, you remember I showed you the Nexus. The Nexus has a place off of it called the Bazaar, which was the first auction house in this game. Before that, this was the place to be. Before we had the Bazaar, you would find this tunnel here packed with hundreds of people some days. Every one of them wanting to sell stuff. And if you went to the tail channel, is that a skeleton? That's a skeleton. Cool. If you went to the tail or the general channel, it was just full of people advertising all the stuff that they had to sell. So that's kind of missed. It was always fun to see this place just packed with people running around selling stuff, even when the other expansions, all the way up to Plains of Power, even until then, all of the, or Shadows of Luckland, I mean, this was where everybody did their wheeling and dealing. Alright, over here, yeah, I remember this. Over here, this is kind of like a black market. Bunch of different smugglers and stuff over here that would be selling items. I said everything is just gigantic though. I mean seriously, the roof of this room used to be maybe this high, you know, before the expansion. This tunnel was nowhere near this gigantic back in the day. So interesting seeing how things have changed. Like I said, the graphics are definitely an improvement. It's much smoother, much more rounded now, not nearly as angular and blocky as it was. Entering North Row.